Welcome aboard Sailing Catamaran de Gigante. I'm Eugenie and this is my unedited sailing podcast. This podcast is new. Welcome aboard Sailing Catamaran de Gigante. I'm Eugenie and this is my unedited sailing podcast. This podcast is new, but we've been at sea for 5 years. We departed Sydney in 2018. We've since sailed across the Pacific, spent about 4 years in the Pacific, then sailed across Southeast Asia, the Indian Ocean, the Red Sea, and the Med this season. We are now sitting in Gibraltar, waiting for a weather window to sail to the Canaries in preparation for the Atlantic crossing to the Caribbean. Now, today was supposed to be our departure day. However, the weather window did not quite work out for us, so we're staying put in harbour. This is where we are in Gibraltar, inside the marina. And as you can see out the window, the weather is not looking so good. So let's take a look at the satellite image from my chart app, Aquamap here. So this is where we are. We're looking to go across the strait, west, and then south down the coast of Morocco to the Canaries. That's about 700 miles. It should take us probably about 6 days. It's about 5:30 and it's blowing 15 to 20 knots from the east to northeast, which is bang on forecast. This is exactly what we were looking for when picking a window, and it looked like it could work for us. However, upon closer examination, what's happening here is that we've got a low system here. It is moving northeast and it is filling, but getting into a low is never a good idea. Also, we have got this big depression here in the North Atlantic that is forecasted to generate huge northeast swell, which would have meant swells on the beam and quite big, so 5-meter waves. Although the period was forecast to be about 13 seconds, 5-meter wave on the beam is certainly not comfortable. This is meant to be enjoyable, so we passed on this weather window. So let's take a look at the forecast for the next few days. We are hoping, so you'll see this low is moving here as it feels there's a bit of an area of calms here, so we would have probably had to motor for a couple of days. At least that's what the weather routing suggested. And then we may have ended up with winds probably a little bit too much on the nose, well, more than we would have liked anyway. So we passed on this window, and what we are now waiting for is for a high to move in so that we can ride that down. This is forecast to come in at the end of the week or earlier next week. And when this happens, it will be time for us to cast off and sail south to the Canaries, and that's the high here on the ECMWF model and the GFS model. So fingers crossed that the high happens and we can head off in under a week's time. Today's podcast is made possible by our fantastic sponsors who help keep our sails full and our mics on. The best way to support this podcast is to like, follow, share, and check out our sponsors. First up is Aquamap, the true navigator behind the human navigator. They provide us with top-notch nautical charts and marine navigation to keep our catamaran cruising smoothly. Next on deck is PredictWind, world leader in wind and weather forecasting for sailors like us. Their weather and forecasting tools are the heartbeat of our daily routine. Thank you to our sponsors for their unwavering support. So not what I was expecting for my first log, unfortunately. So not what I was expecting for my first log, hence why I'm calling this log 0. We may have a few more log 0 for the remainder of the week. the weather is looking really grey, really wet. It's getting cold. We can't wait to get back to some warmer latitudes. It's not going to be super hot in the Canaries, but at least it'll be a bit warmer than here. We're having to wear long sleeves, trousers. I can't wait to get back in my bathing suit. Now, all in all, we're pretty happy with our decision to pass on this weather window this morning. Something wasn't quite right when we woke up and when I looked at the weather. So we are anticipating better conditions. Fingers crossed. The fridge is full. We have filled the water tank. We'll have to do that again, of course, but everything's full and ready to go. And we're just going to take this week to do some final prep and getting into the swing of things to be doing those hopefully daily logs. Thank you for watching. Please like, follow, subscribe. Thanks again to our sponsors. I'm Eugenie. This is my unedited sailing log. Join me again for my next log. Until then, Deo Gigante out.